Have you ever wondered why some people seem invisible to narcissists, while others completely disrupt them? Why some people get manipulated, but others quietly walk away? There is a personality type that narcissists fear the most. Not because they are loud, not because they are aggressive, but because they see everything, they feel everything, and they refuse to play the game. That personality type is the INFJ. In this video, we will explore why INFJs are a narcissist's worst nightmare. And by the end, you may understand yourself, or someone in your life, in a completely new way. Stay with me. INFJs are known as the rarest personality type. They are quiet, deep, highly intuitive. They don't seek attention. They don't chase validation. But they possess something very dangerous to a narcissist: clarity, emotional intelligence, and a deep inner compass that cannot be easily controlled. Narcissists thrive on confusion, on control, on emotional reactions. INFJs disrupt all of that. 1. INFJs value authenticity over approval. Narcissists rely on approval. They need it. They build their identity around it. They want admiration, attention, validation. It fuels them. It gives them a sense of control. INFJs are different. They are not driven by external praise. They are guided by internal truth. They value authenticity deeply. They want things to feel real, honest, aligned. They would rather be alone than fake. Even if loneliness feels heavy, even if silence feels long, they still choose truth. They don't chase praise. Compliments do not define them. Recognition does not control them. They appreciate it, but they do not depend on it. They don't perform for others. They do not shape themselves to fit expectations. They do not pretend to agree just to belong. They remain true to their inner world, even when it is misunderstood. This makes them hard to control, because control often comes through approval, through reward, through validation. But when approval is not needed, control loses its power. Narcissists sense this. It unsettles them, because their usual strategies do not work. Charm feels ineffective. Flattery feels empty. And attention loses its influence. Because INFJs are not looking for it. They are looking for something deeper. And that cannot be manipulated easily. 2. INFJs are deep listeners. INFJs listen carefully, not just to respond, but to understand. They give full attention. They absorb words slowly. They notice patterns in speech, repeated phrases, shifts in tone, changes in emotion. They remember details, small things, things others forget, a story told differently, a reaction that does not match the situation, a pause at the wrong moment. These details matter to them. They connect emotional dots, across time, across conversations, across experiences. Narcissists often reveal themselves over time, not all at once, but gradually, through contradictions, through subtle manipulation, through small inconsistencies that build over time. INFJs pick up on this. Quietly. They do not interrupt. They do not confront immediately. They observe. They allow patterns to unfold. Patiently. They wait. They gather enough understanding. And once they understand the pattern, they cannot unsee it. It becomes clear, predictable, almost obvious. The charm begins to feel scripted. The behavior begins to repeat. The intention becomes visible. And from that moment, everything changes. Because once truth is seen clearly, it cannot be ignored. 3. INFJs have strong inner boundaries. INFJs may seem gentle, soft-spoken, understanding, and they are. But inside, they are firm, stronger than they appear. They have strong values, deep principles, a quiet sense of right and wrong. They do not always express it outwardly, but it is always there, guiding them. They have strong emotional boundaries. Even if those boundaries are not visible at first, they may give time. They may give patience. They may give understanding. They may try to help, to heal, to make things work. They may give chances, more than most, because they believe in growth, in change, in possibility. But they are not endless. There is a limit, a quiet line. And once that line is crossed too many times, something shifts. Not suddenly, but deeply. They begin to withdraw. They begin to detach. They step back. Completely. Not for attention. Not for reaction. But for peace. This is known as the INFJ door slam. It is not impulsive. It is not emotional chaos. It is a final decision. Calm. Clear. Irreversible. And it is something narcissists cannot handle. Because it removes access. Completely. No more explanations. No more chances. No more emotional openings. Just silence. And distance. And that is something control cannot reach. 4. INFJs do not react easily. Narcissists feed on reactions. They seek emotional energy. Strong responses. Visible impact. Anger. Confusion. Emotional chaos. These reactions give them power. They confirm influence. They create control. INFJs are calm. Not cold. But centered. They process internally. They feel deeply. But they do not always show it immediately. They take time. They think before reacting. They don't explode easily. Even when provoked. Even when tested. They pause. They observe. They reflect. They ask themselves questions. They analyze what is happening. This creates space. And in that space, control weakens. Because immediate reactions are predictable. But calm observation is not. This lack of reaction frustrates narcissists. It confuses them. It removes their feedback. There is no emotional reward. No visible impact. No confirmation of control. Because without reaction, there is no control. And without control, their strategy begins to collapse. 5. INFJs understand emotional manipulation. INFJs study human behavior. Naturally. Curiously. They want to understand people. They think deeply about motives. Why people act the way they do. Why emotions shift. Why patterns repeat. They analyze emotions. Their own. And others. They reflect often. They connect experiences. They learn from interactions. This makes them aware of manipulation tactics. Not immediately, but over time. Clearly. They begin to recognize patterns. Gaslighting. Moments where reality is questioned. Where truth is distorted. Guilt-tripping. Moments where responsibility is shifted. Where emotions are used as pressure. Love bombing. Moments of intense affection. Followed by distance. Followed by confusion. INFJs may fall for it once. Because they see potential. Because they believe in good. Because they want to understand. But not forever. They learn. Deeply. And once they understand the pattern, they step out of it. Quietly. Without drama. Without announcement. They detach. They reclaim their clarity. And they no longer participate. Because once manipulation is understood, it loses its power. Completely. 6. INFJs seek meaning, not power. Narcissists seek power. They want influence. Control over people. Control over outcomes. Control over perception. INFJs seek meaning. Something deeper. Something real. They want depth. Purpose. Connection. They are drawn to authenticity. To conversations that matter. To relationships that feel genuine. They are not interested in surface-level dynamics. They are not impressed by status. Titles do not move them. Recognition does not define value for them. Or control. They do not need to dominate. They do not need to win. They do not measure life through power. Or dominance. They are not competing. They are understanding. They are not trying to rise above others. They are trying to connect within. This makes narcissists lose interest, or feel threatened. Because there is nothing to control. Nothing to impress. Nothing to manipulate through status. Because their usual tools do not work. Charm feels empty. Power feels irrelevant. Control feels ineffective. And when power has no effect, it loses its meaning. 7. INFJs trust their intuition. INFJs trust their gut feeling. It is not loud. It is not forceful. But it is steady. Consistent. Reliable. Even when they cannot explain it. Even when there are no clear facts. Even when everything looks fine on the surface. They still feel something deeper. Even when others doubt them. Even when people question their judgment. Even when logic seems to disagree. They return to that inner voice. Quiet. Persistent. They feel when something is wrong. A subtle discomfort. A quiet tension. A feeling that does not go away. And that feeling grows over time. It becomes clearer. Stronger. More defined. Narcissists rely on confusion. They create mixed signals. They blur reality. They shift narratives. But intuition cuts through confusion. Not instantly, but steadily. Quietly. Without noise. Without drama. Just clarity. Powerfully. It brings things into focus. It reveals truth beneath illusion. And once that truth is felt, it cannot be ignored. 8. INFJs can walk away without closure. This is rare. Very rare. Most people seek closure. They want explanations. Clear endings. Final conversations. Explanations. Answers. Something that makes it make sense. Something that feels complete. INFJs don't always need that. Not in the traditional way. They process internally. They find understanding within themselves. When they reflect deeply, they begin to see the full picture. When they understand enough, they leave. Quietly. Without announcement. Without needing a final discussion. Silently. They don't argue endlessly. They do not try to fix what is already clear. They do not repeat conversations that go nowhere. They don't chase resolution. They do not demand answers from someone unwilling to give truth. They accept what is, even when it is incomplete. They protect their peace. They choose distance over confusion. They choose clarity over chaos. And this leaves narcissists without control. No final argument. No emotional reaction. No opportunity to pull them back in. Just absence. And that absence removes all influence. 9. INFJs see through masks. INFJs have powerful intuition. It is quiet, but very precise. They don't just hear words. They listen beneath the words. They read tone, energy, intent. They notice what is said, and what is not said. A narcissist often wears a mask. Charming, confident, persuasive. At first, it feels convincing, even impressive. But INFJs are not easily impressed. They observe. They take their time. They notice small shifts. A smile that feels forced. A compliment that feels calculated. A story that changes slightly each time. These details do not go unnoticed. INFJs store them quietly. They compare patterns over time. They trust subtle discomfort, even when everything looks perfect on the surface. But INFJs see cracks. Not loudly, not dramatically, just clearly. They notice inconsistencies, tiny gaps in behavior, moments where the mask slips, moments where intention shows through. They sense when something feels off. It is not always logical, but it is deeply accurate. Even if they stay silent, they already know. They may continue observing. They may give space. But internally, the picture is forming. This makes manipulation very difficult, because manipulation depends on illusion. And illusion cannot survive under awareness. Because you cannot fool someone who already sees the truth. Even if they say nothing. Even if they smile. Even if they stay. They are already aware. And awareness changes everything. 10. INFJs reflect deeply. INFJs spend time alone. Not to escape, but to understand. They think. Slowly. Carefully. They revisit moments. Conversations. Emotions. They process. Layer by layer. They reflect on experiences. What happened? Why it happened? What it meant? How it felt. This makes them grow. Quietly. Consistently. They learn from pain. They do not ignore it. They sit with it. They explore it. They understand it. They become stronger. Not louder, but deeper. More aware. Of themselves. Of others. Of patterns. More grounded. More stable. More clear. Narcissists depend on repetition. The same cycles. The same patterns. The same manipulation. Again and again. But INFJs evolve. They do not stay the same. They adapt. They learn. They change internally. And once they evolve, they cannot go back. Old patterns no longer feel comfortable. Old dynamics no longer make sense. Old illusions no longer work. And growth creates distance. Permanent distance. 11. INFJs do not fear being alone. This is powerful. Quietly powerful. Narcissists often rely on dependency. They create emotional reliance. They build attachment through inconsistency. They use fear as leverage. Fear of loneliness. Fear of silence. Fear of losing connection. Fear of abandonment. These fears create control. They keep people attached, even when it hurts. INFJs are comfortable alone. Not always at first, but over time. They learn to be. They understand solitude. They accept it. They even value it. They recharge in solitude. It restores them. It centers them. It gives them clarity. They find peace within. Not outside. Not through others. But inside themselves. This removes the narcissist's leverage. Completely. There is no fear to use. No dependency to pull. No emotional hook to control. Because there is nothing to threaten. And when fear disappears, control disappears with it. 12. INFJs eventually choose themselves. At first, INFJs may give too much. They may try to understand, to help, to heal. But over time, something shifts. They realize their worth. They see the imbalance. And they choose themselves. Quietly. Firmly. And when they do, they are gone for good. INFJs are not loud. They are not aggressive. They don't seek conflict. But they are powerful in a different way. They see truth. They feel deeply. They act with quiet strength. And this is exactly why they are a narcissist's worst nightmare. Because you cannot control someone who understands themselves, who trusts their intuition, and who is not afraid to walk away. If this resonated with you, take a moment. Reflect. You may have more strength than you realize. And if you want to explore more about INFJ personality, emotional intelligence, and personal growth, stay connected. There is always more to understand. And always more to become.